The NBA playoffs start tomorrow. Me and my son, we're going to talk about the different matchups and break it down a little bit. We're going to start off with number one and number eight in the East. We're going to start off with the Toronto Raptors versus the Washington Wizards. So, what do you think about? What's your thoughts on the Raptors?
The Raptors have Kyle Lowry, Mark DeRozan, and it's going to be hard for the Wizards to beat that. And John Wall was out for the season, and his team did fine without him.
Well, John Wall, he missed some time. He had to have some knee scope, and his team, they were kind of complaining about the ball not being moved, and since he was out, the ball was moved, and they had an up and down time when he was out. They were winning some, they were losing some. They managed to hang on and get the 8 spot in the East, but they will be taking on the Raptors. What do you think about the Raptors?
The Raptors got Serge Ibaka coming off the bench, and they got Valanciunas that's gonna be dominating
everything. They got Kyle Lowry and they got DeRozan. Both of these teams with Bradley Beal and John Wall, they both have something to prove. The window is closing on these two teams. These two teams been vying in the East for the last 3 or 4 or 5 years, and they really haven't emerged as a viable opponent to knock LeBron James out of the playoffs. And now you have the Celtics. They got a young core, and you got the 76ers who have a really good young core. And, you got my Bulls. They didn't make the playoffs, but they got a nice young core. So the Raptors and the Wizards, they have to show and improve this year. That should be a good series. Who you got in that series? Who you have?
I got the Raptors winning. I see it going to Game 6.
I got the Raptors winning also. The Raptors should win. They have the better roster. To me, they have the better 2 players as a combination on the court. We're gonna go to the 4 and 5 game matchup between the Cavaliers and the Pacers. What's your thoughts on the Cavaliers season?
The Cavaliers had to make a bunch of trades in the trading deadline. They got Larry Nance, Rodney Hood, and
Jordan Clarkson. They got Jordan Clarkson. They had a star-studded roster in the beginning. I knew that roster was not gonna work out. They had Derrick Rose. He was coming off of his problems. They had Isaiah Thomas, who was coming off hip surgery. They also had Dwayne Wade, LeBron James' buddy. So that thing, it didn't work out. They did at one point win like 10 games in a row, but the chemistry was off. Isaiah Thomas wanted to do his own thing, so they blew it up and they brought in Rodney Hood, Jordan Clarkson from the Lakers, and then they got they got Rodney Hood from the Jazz. And they got Jordan Clarkson and Larry Nance Jr. from the Lakers. They've been playing okay, but this is an inexperienced team. LeBron James has not played with an inexperienced team like this in a long time. And, we're going to see what the Pacers can do. The Pacers, they got Sabonis. They got Victor Oladipo.
They got Victor Oladipo, yeah.
He got drafted by the Orlando Magic, had a couple good years with Orlando Magic, and then kind of disappeared the last couple years. Not really disappeared, but the Magic is not that good. He went to OKC. He went to OKC, played with Russell Westbrook. Didn't really pan out there. They made a trade, and he went to the Indiana Pacers for Paul George, and Sabonis went there with him to Indiana, and they've been doing pretty good. They play really good defense. They play hard. So we're gonna see if they can kind of push the Cavaliers. I wouldn't be surprised if that goes 6. I wouldn't be surprised if the Pacers beat them. Who you like in that series?
Well, I'll have to go with the Cavs.
Yeah, I would have to go with the Cavs until I see somebody beat LeBron 4 straight times in the playoffs. And so far, no one has been able to do it in 7-8 years. So let's go to the 3-6 matchup with the 76ers and the Miami Heat. Who do you like in that series?
I would take the 76ers.
Why would you take the 76ers over the Heat?
They got Ben Simmons. They got a young team, nice, good team. And then Heat, they got Dwayne Wade. They got Waiters. They got an alright team, but I have to go with the Sixers.
Well, this is a hard one because the Sixers are a young team. They got Joel Embiid, but he's not going to play in the first game. Maybe he may not. Maybe if the Sixers, win game 1 and game 2 because they do have home court, maybe he won't play to game 3. I'm guessing the strategy, as long as they are controlling the series, they will keep Joel Embiid out as long as they can. He is coming off an orbital bone. He broke his eye socket, so they still messing around with that. So I mean, the Miami Heat to me has more experience. They got Dwayne Wade back. He came back to where he belonged, to where he he got drafted at, and he had his most success. He won 3 titles with them. They got Gordon Dragic. They also got who's the guy in the middle? They got Deion Waiters is hurt I think Deion Waiters is hurt for the year. They got Whiteside in the middle. So that's gonna be a hard one. I'm gonna go with the Sixers. Sixers coming off of how many games they won in a row?
16
game winning streak, and they won like 8 of them, 6 or 7 of them without Joel Embiid. So I'm gonna go with the Sixers. They have a young team. They got some sharpshooters. They got
JJ Redick.
Yeah, they got JJ Redick, and they got that McCullough, the McCullough guy. I think it's his second year. So I'm gonna go with the Sixers. We're gonna go to the 2-7. Now this is a tricky one. Now the Celtics are a 2 seed going up against the Bucks, but the Celtics are without
Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward.
Yeah, we all know Gordon Hayward dislocated his ankle the first game of the season, and Kyrie had to get his knee cleaned up. Or they originally said he was gonna come back in like 3 weeks, but they looked in there. He had some aggravation on the knee. They had to take some screws out, so they said he had to miss the rest of the season. I guess he had an infection, so infection and the screws gave him an infection. But he expected to make a full recovery. But I'm gonna have to go with the Bucks because the Bucks have the best player. Guinness Antetokounmpo. I can't really say his name, but he's the best player on the floor. He's grown as a player. He still can't shoot that well, kind of like Ben Simmons. They got everything else, but they can't shoot from the perimeter.
Ben Simmons contending for Rookie of the Year too.
Yeah, Ben Simmons is contending for the Rookie of the Year, but I'm gonna go with the Bucks in 6.
Yeah, now I gotta go with the Bucks too.
Yeah, but the Celtics could pull off an upset, even though they the 2 seed. It's kind of crazy saying they the 2 seed. They got to pull up the upset. But
the Celtics do still have some good people on their team.
They got Jaylen Brown. They got Al Horford. They got the young guy. They get the rookie.
Jaylen Brown.
No. Jaylen Brown is a second-year player. The other guy, Jason Tatum. So, and he's been playing well. He had hit the rookie wall early in the year. Which
they got some young talent on their team.
All rookies do hit a wall, and it seemed like he's playing, going back to his regular form to when he started the season. Now let's go to the West. We got the 1-8 seed. We got Rockets and the Timberwolves. Now the Timberwolves I believe they are only the 8 seed because Jimmy Butler got hurt. He had to have his knee scoped also, and he missed 3 weeks? Yeah, he missed 3 weeks. So they're really not an 8 seed. I believe if Jimmy Butler when they got hurt, they are probably a 4 or a 5 seed. So now the Rockets dealing with the Wolves. What do you think about the Wolves, the young Wolves?
The Wolves got a big man, Karl Anthony Towns, and then they got Jamal Crawford.
Coming off the bench, giving him a scoring punch. They got Jimmy Butler from Chicago in that trade with Chris Dunn, Zach LaVine, and the number 7 pick, which turned out to be Lauren Markkinen. So now the Bulls got a good young core. But this is going to be a tricky series.
They got Andrew Wiggins.
Now, Andrew Wiggins had to step up. Now, Karl Anthony Towns will probably get him 20-10. Jimmy Butler will give him some good defense on the other end. He's going to have to guard James Harden, or they may put Wiggins on Harden. But I believe Jimmy Butler will show up. Now, Wiggins is the X factor. Wiggins has to show up, and he has to play big. Now, he was originally drafted number 1 by the Cavs. He got traded, but when LeBron James got there for Kevin Love, and he's not an alpha. He's not an alpha male. He has great talent, but he doesn't have an alpha mindset to me. and he has to get that. He has to do something to bring out his talent. To have so the Wolves will not get blown off the court by the Rockets, because the Rockets got Chris Paul, James Harden,
Clint Capella.
Clint Capella, who's playing well down low, catching all them lobs from James Harden and Chris Paul, playing good defense, blocking shots. I think he blocked like 2 shots a game, something like that, and grabbing maybe 10 boards. They got Aaron Gordon coming off the bench.
They got Lene coming off the bench.
They got Lene. Ba Mute dislocated his shoulder, so he's not playing in the first round.
The dude from the Suns. They got that dude from the Suns.
Are you talking about? He played with the Raptors last year. He's a small forward. I forget his name. It may come to me. But who you like in this series? I'm gonna pick the Rockets. The Rockets just got too much firepower to me.
To me, I think it's gonna be an upset and go to the Wolves.
Yeah, I knew you was gonna pick the Wolves. The Wolves is your team. It's a dark horse, you know. Eights have been beat once before. The Sonics got beat by the Denver Nuggets back in the day, back in like '94. They got beat by Mutombo Denver Nuggets, and the Golden State Warriors beat Dallas, the number 8 seed in 2000. Was it like 2009 when Baron Davis was on the team with the other guy, the other short guy. He played with the Pacers for a little while too. Monte Ellis. They had Monte Ellis. They had Jackson. They had Jackson on that team. I believe they had was Corey Maggette on that team? I think Corey Maggette. They had a pretty good team.
The Timberwolves have a good history of drafting centers too. Kevin Garnett, Kevin Love, and now it's Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah, so they got a pretty good team, but we'll see what happens in that series. Let's go to the 4-5 matchup. Now this is gonna be a good matchup between OKC Thunder and the Utah Jazz. Who you got in that series?
I gotta go with OKC.
Why you going with OKC?
They got Russell Westbrook, Paul George. They got Carmelo. He's not as good as he used to, but he still can give you some good points.
Well, I'm gonna go with the upset. I'm going with the Jazz. I think Jazz have a nice young core. I'm gonna go with Rudy Gobert, and they got Donovan Mitchell, who I think is the rookie of the year, because Ben Simmons although he got hurt last year, he did get drafted last year, and Donovan Mitchell got drafted this year, so he should be the rookie of the year. The NBA needs to change that. No, it should be no worse than them. They should share it. They should be co-MVPs like Grant Hill and Jason Kidd did in '94. They should be co-MVPs. But I got the Jazz. You said you got the OKC Thunder, so we're gonna look at that with great interest. Who you got? The Pelicans or Portland Trailblazers?
This is I have to go with Portland.
I'm gonna go with Portland also. They got Damian Lillard, C.J. McCollum. They got Nurkic. Is that his name? Nurkic? I get him mixed up with the other guy at Denver. They got Nurkic down low. The Pelicans, to me, the only person they got is Anthony Davis. They do have Mirotic. They got some nice little pieces.
DeMarcus Cousins is out. So
DeMarcus Cousins is out. He hurt himself, so they don't have enough firepower. It's just Portland's got too much firepower, and it's hard to win at Portland. Just like it's hard to win at Utah with the Jazz. That's why I picked Utah Jazz, because I think the Utah Jazz can still win at OKC, but it's hard to win at Utah. It's very hard to win at Utah. Let's say Golden State and the Spurs. Who you got?
I see this going.
You know this is not a hard one.
I gotta go with the Warriors.
I gotta go with the Warriors, even though Steph Curry not slated to play in the first round, but we'll see how things go. If the Spurs can able to snatch a game or something like that, they may put Curry in, but they should be able to beat them. They still got your boy that you like, Klay Thompson, and they still got Draymond Green, Kevin Durant. They got enough Iggy coming off the bench. They got Swaggy P, Swaggy P and his mess. So they got some pretty good players. So I'm gonna go with the Golden State Warriors. So that wraps up our playoff picture. Now y'all tell us in the comment section who y'all think,
But
who y'all
I see the
picking.
Warriors game going to Game 6.
I don't see it going game 6. I see it possibly being 5. I say in 5. We out. Subscribe. Hit the notification.